Hello there!
And we're back.
Continuing our lovely saga of bitching about Chase and his company.
Let's talk about money. The very start of it. I'm not sure if you were there at the time, maybe you were, but when Chase doubled the price of his coaching.
That happened right before I got hired on. Go right ahead, though.
So basically, what had happened was Chase's booking system was really bad, and he got overbooked. Um, he didn't have that many time slots available because he was working full time, but his time slots were back to back and it sucked for him. So his bright idea was I'm going to double the price of my coaching from $200 an hour to $400 an hour because I guess he just thought there was a ton of demand and didn't realize it's just low supply.
No. He just doesn't understand how that works because that's just that's a very stupid mistake. I'm going to be real with you. Um,
But to double the price, like increase it a little bit maybe. There's a big difference between paying $400 for something and paying 200.
well, here's what actually happened. It's not that he was overbooked, it was the fact that he was working a day job and he had zero schedule. Like, that was why I was going to be hired on, is the fact that the dude could not schedule to save his life. Quite literally, kept on calling me, being like, oh my God, I'm going to die of stress because of my scheduling. And you gotta start working for me soon because of it. No, seriously, the dude cannot abide by his schedule. You make him a schedule unless you hound his ass to keep that schedule. He's not going to keep it, and he's just going to do what he wants to do anyway.
Well,
Um,
that's kind of a common theme. Like, I hounded his ass for a while about coaching being $400 a session, and I literally had to, like, compile the data for him and be like, look, you're making a few grand a month, like, on coaching at it being $200 a session. And now you're making like less than a grand a month on coaching. You're
we
only
had
selling a couple sessions because of the price being too high. Hello, I think we did a sale where we
did
gave like a
several
hundred
sales.
dollars off of coaching, and we actually sold a bunch of it. And we're like, look, Chase, like I'm pretty sure I made a graph of like how much money
Hmm.
he charges for coaching versus how many people actually buy it. And
So in his head, he thought that his demand was so good. This is also, he still thinks this, by the way. That's why there's a lot of coaching sessions that are well beyond the 200 mark on his website. He really truly believes that all of you are suckers and are going to buy in for that ridiculously high amount.
well, he
You
says that my coaching is worth that much, so people will pay for it. Well, he doesn't understand. It doesn't matter what the fuck something's worth. What matters is what people will pay for it. That's what determines what it's worth.
mm-hmm. Like, if you're going separating it from his business and our opinions on him from a marketing standpoint, if you have a lot of product that's being bought and you can't keep up with the demand of the product, you slowly bump up the price. You do not double it. You would maybe increase it by like $50 in his case. Even that I think is a little too high. I would start with 25
Yeah, so would
and
I.
then go from there. And like,
Until your supply reaches your demand, you'll find that sweet spot.
but doubling it absolutely devastated his coaching numbers. And he didn't even really recover from it either until like we implemented and we had to really push for it. You're welcome, those who still buy his stuff for whatever reason. Uh,
It's not like he gets repeat clients.
oh, that's true.
Yeah.
He gets some repeat clients, and the reason being, well, why don't we go into that? We have time. Like,
Well, oh god. Well, for one thing, I was like, Chase, you don't really get repeat clients. So that either means you're helping people so much that you're just fixing everything in their life in 1 hour, or they don't think they're getting their money's worth out of it. So he took that as, I'm just fixing their whole life in an hour.
So we have actual accounts of people telling us what really went on in his sessions. And I have never had a session by him, period. I He offered in awkward ways several different occasions.
He offered to give free coaching to his employees.
Yeah. Doesn't really work when he treated me as his personal therapist. By the way, he would call me at all hours of the day or night, and these conversations were never really about business. He almost always called me about personal stuff, which I always turned on the meter because I'm not going to sit there talking to my boss about random bullshit without getting paid for it. But that's beside the point. His actual sessions, he apparently spends the first 5 to 10 minutes listening to you talk, and then spends the rest of the session telling you his opinion of you, what he thinks you are, and trying to convince you of it, and or spouting the Bible at you. I've had a couple of different accounts. I'm not going to name any names, but there was even one account where he used the session to basically ridicule and just bully one of the people he didn't like on his server, and took that opportunity in that session to do that, to put them down and make them feel like crap.
Well,
And
there was someone else on the server who got a coaching session, and they said that they didn't really agree with what their type was, and it seemed like Chase just talked a lot but didn't listen very much. And Chase confirmed that. He said to us that most of his typing session is just convincing the person what their type is, which means he's not listening. Like, he'll listen, I guess, until he decides what your type is, and then the rest of the time he's not open. He's just trying to convince you of his first reaction, I guess.
mm-hmm. So considering that, I will advocate and say don't bother with his typing sessions, just overall. As far as I am concerned, I think that somebody who doesn't have a handle on his own life has no business giving advice to anybody else. That is my personal opinion.
And by not have a handle on his own life, he makes it seem like he's so responsible, and he's been so responsible forever, but until not that long ago, he was paying someone to manage all of his finances for him because he can't
Manage his finances. He had me to manage his personal life. Um, I can't tell you the number of times that I had to basically tell him that he couldn't date his employees. Things like, oh, his girlfriends are just a whole other matter. Things that he used to talk about so often in his channel. And he doesn't have his life together. He really does not. And my comments on that stem from the fact that he did treat me as his own personal therapist. So what I have to say on this matter has absolutely nothing to do with his business. It's just stuff he told me. I don't know why he told me. I don't know why he felt the need to tell me. I think he was trying to gain my loyalty by telling me stuff, but
which
I don't
is
care.
which is like a tactic that people use generally. Not the best kind of people, is they'll overshare, and then you end up thinking like you're closer to that person than you really are because they shared so much stuff with you.
I mostly was just kind of uncomfortable that he, for example, called me one day when I was in the car with my boyfriend's mom, and he very, very loudly started describing the sex he was having with his current girlfriend on the phone next to my boyfriend's mom. It was really, really awkward. And he'd do awkward shit like that all the time. And the stuff he would do in calls, it was gross. It was disgusting. The stuff he would do when he was in calls with people or in a meeting with his business. He would piss on the phone while
And
we
it
were
would
having
sound
a
like
company
peeing.
meeting. He would claim that he's just running the water, but you can tell the difference between running water and peeing. Or he'd openly admit he's pooping while on the phone. Or, and not just on the phone, but in a company meeting with the entirety of his company in that meeting. And poor Emily, she had worse.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, I was told a story by someone that he knew about how he he had sex while he was in like a call with them. So I guess I kind of had the ears for it, but he was in like a Discord call, like publicly on his server, and he started being very distracted and had like this kind of weird tone of voice when he would say like, yeah, that sort of thing. So I moved him out of the channel because I was literally afraid that he was doing something sexual and it would get heard over the server.
God.
But I mean, in those company meetings, I guess we were lucky if he was paying attention.
Right? He barely ever paid attention. Oh man,
He
he
was so
wanted
rude.
he wanted everything done right now. When he told somebody, he basically would tell me that he wanted something done, and I would expect it to be done basically the same day. He wouldn't say it because that makes him look bad. He'd be like, well, of course I don't expect it to be done right away, but I expect you guys to work on it. But he would expect it to be done the same day, basically. He expected everything that he ever came out of his mouth to be done right away to his perfection, instantaneously. And it's very hard to deal with somebody like that. I did my best. I delegated tasks to the best of my ability, and I put timelines on things. And I told him these deadlines. So if I did not tell him these deadlines, he would go out of his way to start hounding the people in his company to get these things done.
Granted,
Even though
it's not like a regular job for most people, right? Most of them worked part-time or volunteered while they already worked full-time. Like, some of these people worked overtime at their regular jobs and didn't have a lot of time for their personal life because they were working for Chase, and he would get really upset if they weren't available to help him or do whatever he wanted at that point in time.
I had a hard boundary with him where I said, I will work Monday through Friday, whatever time you need me, Monday and Friday, whatever. But I don't work weekends. When would he always call me and text me? During the weekend. Every time there was some sort of an emergency, it happened on the weekend. It was so chaotic working for him. There was just so much stuff that just happened.
It was so stressful just trying to get him to do like little things that are good for his business, like splitting up his episodes into smaller portions, or he was trying to sell t-shirts, so just wear your t-shirt. That's the advertisement. Like, take a picture of yourself in the t-shirt, or take a picture of yourself in the studio and show like some behind the scenes stuff so we can put it on your Instagram, like anything besides stock photos. People want to see, what you're doing. So his answer to that, instead of, submitting the picture to me, who was posting to his social media at the time as him, spoiler, he like posted on social media pictures from where he was like at that time while he was with his kids, and he had a fan like come up to him because they knew where he was. He never did what we requested as his marketing team.
He never did what anybody requested. He was only ever going to do what he wanted to do, and he basically paid lip service to anybody else. And if you ever request anything of him, well, for one thing, he's not going to talk to you unless he has something to gain from you. So just putting that out there right there. Given any kind of conversation, if you suggest anything to him, if you, even if you're on like a friend basis and you talk friendly with him, he just pays lip service. He doesn't care what anybody else has to say. He is just going to do what he's going to do. And that's the end of that.
There are times where we've hounded him long enough and like he's actually done stuff. And he has listened to me on occasion, like when we lowered the coaching price finally, that he started selling more coaching. Yeah, no fucking shit.
So many people complain and still do complain about the length of his videos, and we desperately tried to get him to do what we're basically doing, where we have a long ongoing conversation that we're breaking up into smaller bits so that it's more digestible to you, the viewers. There's a reason why we're doing this way. It's easier to listen to. It's easier to absorb all that information. And let's be honest here, this is internet culture. Beyond 20 minutes, your attention is gone. More often than not. You're off doing something else. Maybe you're listening to this while you're playing a game or doing something else, but generally most people, and this is from a marketing standpoint, most people's attention spans don't go beyond that 20-minute mark. It gets very difficult to really just continuously invest and listen to somebody talk on and on and on, especially for an hour to 2 hours like Chase does. And like, this is a genuine need that we really tried to get him to break down his videos. He didn't even have to stop his actual lecture. He just needed to do little timers. That's it.
We did it a few times. I had to manually do it. I had to split up his videos for him. And then what we tried to do is we tried to have his videos come out on a schedule, because that's what works. And it's really not that hard to do. We were like, just make a whole bunch of videos so we can have a backlog, because at that point I was making the thumbnails for the videos. I was adding, the links that pop up with the little eye during certain parts. I was making end screens that linked to like other videos like it. I was putting in tags, writing descriptions for the videos.
Emily did a ton of the technical stuff that a lot of you viewers ended up seeing. Things on his website, things on his videos.
Well, not his current website.
Well, no.
His last one. His current one is a whole nother thing. But anyway, so I started doing all that because it was clear that he wouldn't. It only happened for like a couple of videos, and he really got angry that it wasn't done instantly.
And that's a lot of work. He has a lot of videos.
And I had a day job.
Yeah, you did. Like, he really expected this stuff to just be done for him.
So and I wanted to wait and not release them right away so that we could have that bank of videos, because he was not consistent at all. Like, he hadn't been working, but he still wasn't releasing videos even though he quit his day job. I guess he probably just didn't want to make the videos, but instead of building up that bank so that we could release them on a schedule so people know when to go to his channel to look, because that's kind of a proven thing that's good for, your subscribers, what have you. And even just the fact of releasing more videos, that would have helped his viewership a ton, because instead of releasing like one a month, releasing one a week, it's like win-win. And he just would not. He just wanted to make his video whenever he was going to make it and just release it instantly with no schedule, even though we laid it out for him.
So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for this session. We'll go ahead and discuss more about how non-cooperative he is in the next video. Thank you for watching. So long. Farewell.
Bye. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you want to hear more, hit that subscribe button. And feel free to ask any questions you have down in the comments below. At some point, we're going to do a Q&A video, so all of the questions that you may have asked us before or want to ask us about working for Chase or being his moderator, or even about Chase if we know it, now's your time. We'll actually answer now that we're not trying to protect his business.
Absolutely. Anything goes.
And feel free to share this video with your typology friends on Reddit, Discord servers, wherever.